Welcome back to the Caribou Data Science channel on YouTube. I'm just going to go back and review my daily reports I read earlier. This I have a report for U.S., U.S. State of Ohio, Spain, Israel, and Pakistan. I think that's probably it. Uh, so let's just begin and take a look, go through report by report, see exactly what's going on here. So the first report we're going to look at is the Camino. Okay, so here's for today's date, the 24th. And as you can see, there is a continuing trend upward in the number of cases. The blue line is the 14-day moving average, which gives us the clear trend. The next one is deaths, daily deaths. You can see deaths also are trending up, approaching 250 deaths per day. There's still quite a bit of volatility, which is really kind of odd. Uh, now this is excuse me. This is the current spike, which began in June, of cases in Spain. You can see this confirms the earlier pattern of a steady decline up. Deaths at even steeper. The trend for deaths is even steeper than cases. Okay, and you can see cases deaths are above 100, 175 at one point over here. Take a look at weekly deaths, weekly cases. In other words, for Spain, you can see there's a slight chance that this week will not catch last week's cases, and it may not even catch the week before's cases. Maybe not. It may not even catch this case either, which would be fantastic news. Once again, you can see this is 1,000 here. That's about 500. So you can see that the weekly numbers for deaths is above about 750 last week. There's a chance that we may not catch it this week. Okay, so we look at the monthly numbers. You can see the cases, September's cases, another 3 or 4 days ago, is already past uh, August numbers by almost, well, this is 2 million in, I guess. So that means that September's cases are definitely not looking good. You can see that September deaths is already past August and June as far as that goes. So that concludes the report for Spain. Let's just move on now to the next line, which is Israel. Okay, we can see that Israel is climbing upward, is trending upward clearly up. Even though there's quite a bit of volatility, the trend line has climbed way up to here. It's just that there's such a difference in the number of in the volatility, so it's really hard to say what's going on. Deaths are climbing steadily from back here in July, all the way up to here, a little dip here, but then resume climbing upward. Their daily deaths are approaching 40 per day. Look at the current spike beginning in June. You can see once again the clear trend upward in cases. Deaths again, you can see it's interesting. This is almost a straight line in terms of cases. Wonder what that means. As you can see, there's a chance that we will not catch last week's numbers, which would be good news as far as cases are concerned. We may not catch last week's case numbers, but we've already passed last week's deaths, okay? And we may yet catch, with 2 days to go in this week, we may yet catch, unfortunately, deaths. This peak here, because this is the biggest peak. Deaths, cases by month. Cases are already well past both July and August numbers. Deaths will almost certainly pass August numbers also. So the news continues to not be good. So the numbers continues to not be good for Israel. So we need to definitely lift them up in prayer to God to have mercy on his chosen people on the promised land. Okay, so that takes care of Israel. Now, Pakistan, on to Pakistan's daily report. Pakistan numbers are still very good overall. All you can see a definite trend upward in the number of cases. Deaths are trending upward, but not quite as steep. I don't think as as cases as we look at the current spike beginning with June. You can see that the climb back up as far as cases began here. Deaths are flat to maybe a little increase here. Cases by week, you can see we had a spike up last week. It remains to be seen. We're not going to spike up this week. Deaths are remaining lower than last week so far. As we can see, September may or may not catch August monthly numbers for cases. It probably won't even catch August total deaths for the month of August. So that takes care of Pakistan's numbers. So now let's go to the U.S. numbers. So if we look at U.S. numbers, still looking pretty good. We've had a slight increase here, but we'll see what happens next. Maybe this is just a brief spike before it resumes its downward trend. That certainly must be our prayers that God will completely remove COVID-19 from the U.S. shores. We need to pray that God will, that the cases and deaths will decline to zero, never to come back again. Join me in that daily prayer. A long climb here, it's a little bit of climb here, and a drop back down here. So it remains to be seen. Uh, Deaths continue to have a spike last week as far as deaths, but the overall trend is still down. Just like the uptrend here at the end. Look at the current spike. You can see that there is some increase, some trending upwards as far as cases, while deaths are trending down to flatten as far as cases. We look at the U.S. cases by week. We can see there's a good chance we will not catch last week's numbers, and maybe not even the numbers from here. That would be very encouraging because that could indicate there's a new downward trend developing. Deaths, had a slight increase here, but there's a good chance that we will not match that number. We'll come in a lower number of deaths this week than last week. So here we have the U.S. numbers. by month. These are cases by month. There's a good chance that September will not catch August cases. And there's a good chance that September will not catch August deaths, maybe not even July's deaths. Who knows, maybe not even June's death. So there is good news out there right now. It's just all we got to do is look at the numbers for ourselves, okay? One more to go. This is for the state of Ohio. Okay, so this is the state of Ohio numbers. You can see a very good trend here, a slight spike, but now it's resumed. It's clear, it's resuming its downward trend as far as daily cases. The red line again is a moving average. Deaths remain flat. We have a little spike here, but overall deaths are remaining flat, uh, traveling horizontally with some volatility. This is weekly cases. You can see the cases are fluctuating between 600 and 8,000 maybe. Most of the time they're staying below 8,000 now. Deaths, you can see once again this horizontal line here with a single, this with a spike here. So overall, I would say that the deaths are averaging 150 to 200 a week. This is monthly totals for cases. It's a good chance that September will not catch August case totals, even with an extra day. And there's a slight possibility that September will not catch August deaths either. These are average deaths per week. You can see that it's nothing really radical here. It's pretty much following the same trend as the daily numbers. And the same here. I'm not sure how valuable this is, but this is the average cases per month. So you can see here August and September are almost identical, which is kind of interesting. We look at it on the average. Look at the monthly average for deaths. You can see that September has already passed August as far as the average month. I'm not sure if we do an average, and what does that mean? Hmm. Okay, so for the last 8 days. This is the total number of cases for the last 8 days. This is the top five. This is the 5 counties that had the most cases for the last 8 days for the last week. Franklin, of course, you would expect. Hamilton, Montgomery, Butler, and Cuyahoga, but let's take a look at that. Now, what's interesting over here is Franklin doesn't have the most deaths for the last 8 days. That's 6. For the last 8 days, Columbiana had the most deaths for the last 8 days. We're at 7. And this is just Franklin County where I live in Ohio. You can see it's following a state pattern. Uh, a double spike here, followed by a decline. These are deaths. You can see that the deaths pretty volatile, even at a 14-day level, continuing downward, and now it's climbing back up. Okay, so that concludes today's data reports for COVID-19, both in the U.S. and for Spain, Israel, and Pakistan. Thanks so much for stopping by, and I appreciate you. I do thank you for your time.